Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome to Policy and Rights, the show about government policy and human rights. Welcome back to Policy and Rights here in Depictions Media Radio. Doug Ford is going to make some announcements about how Ontario is helping build skills. Especially in this case, we're talking about electricians. They are coming up with a program where they're going to support electrical skills with $2.7 million in investments for training of electricians. Believe it or not, there are two skills in construction that we really need to take a good look at, especially beyond building of new things, new buildings and all, that on the repair end, plumbers and electricians. They keep our houses going, they keep our businesses going. It's like without them, well, simply put, with an electrician, the lights wouldn't come on. The computer wouldn't work. There's a whole bunch of things that in today's society with electronics would go kaput. So, sounds like a wise investment in Ontario. And why don't we listen to what Doug Ford has to say at this press conference about supporting electricians.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Goldie Ghamari, and I'm the MPP for Carleton. I would like to welcome everyone to rural Ottawa today. I'm very excited to be here with Premier Ford and Minister McNaughton, as well as the Mayor. I would also like to thank KE Electrical Services for hosting today's event and announcement. KE Electrical Services exemplifies both the contributions and the importance of a contractor in a community. Their work includes domestic, commercial, and industrial projects locally and throughout the City of Ottawa. The Premier has shown time and time again his support towards our electrical workers as contractors are building new homes at a rapid rate in Eastern Ontario and rural Ottawa. As the daughter of an electrician working in the skilled trades, I look forward to today's announcement. I would now like to introduce Jesse Lowe, CFO of KE Electrical Services, to the podium to say a few words. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Goldie, and good morning. I am Jesse Lowe, the CFO of KE Electrical Limited. On behalf of KE, I would like to welcome everyone, including the Premier, Minister McNaughton, the Mayor, as well as other officials to our facilities here out in beautiful Carp. I would also like to quickly acknowledge that we are currently located on unceded Algonquin territory. We're very excited to host this morning's announcement, and we're very thankful for the work that Premier Ford and his government has done specifically in relation to the skilled trades. Initiatives such as enhancing and creating exciting opportunities for young students to enter the skilled trades, increasing apprenticeship ratios, coming up with great ways to further training and education in the skilled trades, and enhancing health and safety have all had a positive impact on KE, our employees, and the skilled trades in general. It has enabled KE to do their part in making Ontario a great place to build and to live. I hope everyone has a great, exciting time out here today. And without further ado, I'm excited to announce our Mayor of the City of Ottawa, Mr. Mark Sutcliffe.
Thank you, Jesse. Bonjour tout le monde. C'est vraiment un plaisir d'être ici aujourd'hui et je suis très heureux d'accueillir le Premier ministre d'Ontario. I want to welcome Premier Ford to Ottawa. It's always a pleasure to welcome the Premier here to our city, to the nation's capital, to the great city of Ottawa, and especially to rural Ottawa. I know that the Premier and I both share an affection for the rural communities in our city. And this is just such a great part of our city. I'm looking forward, of course, to the Carp Fair later this year, and always happy to spend time in rural Ottawa. And I want to thank the Premier and his government for this announcement today and for the collaborative relationship that we've been building between the city and the province. The Premier is incredibly responsive, is always available when we need him. And so I'm grateful for that relationship, not just for the announcement today, but for all the other investments that the Ontario government has made in Ottawa and the responsive nature of the relationship. This is a really important announcement today, and I want to express gratitude to KE Electrical Services for hosting us. It's really great to see the work that's going on here. I got a chance to speak to members of the family and to hear a little bit about the business here and the farm as well. And this is really special. This is a great example of a local business in our community, a local rural business. And, you know, I think electricians are really the unsung heroes sometimes of the trades. They're behind the scenes. They're making sure that everything works well, even when we're not noticing it. And so this announcement, I think, is very important. And it reflects the need that we have in Ontario and in Ottawa to invest in the skilled trades, to bring people forward who can solve problems and be part of building more homes and more factories and just building more in the province of Ontario. So electricians have a huge economic impact. They're a big part of our city. And the demand for electricians and for other skilled trades is only going to rise in the months and years ahead. So let's continue to champion the vital role that they play and support these dedicated professionals who power our progress and really, truly light the way for a better and brighter future for all of us. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Well, thank you, Mayor, so much for those great words. I'm Monte McNaughton, Ontario's Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development. I want to thank Jesse and the amazing team here at KE for hosting us today and for the incredible work that you're all doing building the future of our province and the region. It's great to be back in Ottawa alongside my incredible colleague Goldie Ghamari, who does so much for the residents of Carleton, and of course, Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford. Over the next decade, we're going to need 100,000 more workers in the trades to build the hospitals, schools, and homes that families rely on every single day. You can really see this labor crunch already with businesses struggling to find the skilled workers they need to build our province and grow the economy for everyone. Each of these unfilled jobs represents a paycheck not collected and a missed opportunity for someone to have a better life. Last week, I was proud to be here in Ottawa to announce our government has made historic progress on this front, increasing apprenticeship registrations by 24% overall compared to the previous year, and women leading the way with a 30% jump, bringing us to more than 91,000 active apprentices across the province, truly historic records. And those include trades right here in the Eastern Ontario region, like the workers that are here with us today. From lighting our homes to powering our businesses, these really are the jobs that are making a difference, where you can be proud of what you build, earn a solid paycheck that lets you provide for your family. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, our government is on a mission to help every worker gain the skills they need to find in-demand jobs that are close to home. Through our $700 million Skills Development Fund, we have now launched nearly 600 projects in communities across the province, helping 500,000 workers take the next step in their careers. And now I really wanted to turn it over to the Premier, who has made this a central piece in our government to get more people into the skilled trades. There's no bigger champion for blue-collar workers in the skilled trades than Ontario's Premier. Premier, over to you.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. And before we get started, please join me in praying for the best outcome and speedy recovery of those involved in the CH-147 Chinook helicopter crash near Petawawa. And God bless the first responders on the scene and the aid them in their recovery mission. So our prayers and thoughts are with our Air Force and our military folks. Thank you, Minister McNaughton, for that introduction. It's always great to be back here in Kanata alongside Minister McNaughton and MPP Goldie Ghamari. I also want to recognize the great Mayor Mark Sutcliffe. Mayor, right from the get-go, we've had an incredible relationship. I always joke around with the mayor. He calls me more than my wife does, and that's all right. You can call me every day. And we had him over to our house with a few other mayors on Friday with a barbecue. But I'll tell you, Ottawa is so fortunate to have a great mayor like Mayor Sutcliffe. And when we're walking in, I told him from the day I was nominated as leader of this party, every single trip to Ottawa has just been a phenomenal time. I love the people here, and we look forward to visiting a few folks throughout the rest of the day there. And a big thank you to Gordon and Jesse. Jesse, I'll tell you should have seen the look on Monte and my face and Goldie. Folks, he wasn't reading off a script or anything, so you have a bright future in politics after you finish with KE. But boy, you're well spoken. And the entire team at KE Electrical for hosting us today. It's always a pleasure to visit companies like yours. A company that's grown from humble beginnings to one of the area's premier electrical contractors, helping to build the growing Ottawa region, helping to build Ontario. The other thing that I found amazing, the mayor sent me over a map of Toronto inside the boundaries of Ottawa geographically. Mayor, what is it, 3 times or 4 times the size of Toronto? 4 times the size of Toronto. Ottawa has a massive geographical footprint here. And again, I want to thank everyone for what they do here and in the city of Ottawa. My friends, no secret that Ontario is facing a historic labor shortage. While nearly 650,000 more people are working today than when we took office in 2018, there's still hundreds of thousands of jobs going unfilled each and every day, including 1,600 electrician jobs, and over the next decade, we're going to need an additional 100,000 skilled workers to help build the housing and infrastructure our growing province needs. Here in Ottawa, for example, we're working closely with Mayor Sutcliffe to build 151,000 new homes in Ottawa by 2031. And when I look at the mapping, you know, Toronto is going to be seeing a lot of influx in people coming there. Ottawa is Kitchener-Waterloo, so those regions are the let's say the hotbed. And the reason they're coming here because it's a quality of life that you're helping create, your council's helping create, Mayor, and the people of Ottawa. To bring home ownership into reach for more people and right across the province, we've embarked on the most ambitious capital plan in our province's history, with planned investments over the next 10 years totaling $184 billion. We're building schools, including $34 million to build the new Riverside South Catholic Elementary School and the Fenley Creek Elementary School in Ottawa. We're investing nearly $50 billion to upgrade our healthcare infrastructure, including almost $30 million towards the Ottawa Hospital Civic Campus, and that's a planning grant. The Ottawa Hospital is going under the second largest build in Canada. It's absolutely massive, well-deserved, and the CEO, Cam, over there is doing a great job. We're investing $28 billion in roads and highways while supporting the largest transit expansion in all of North America. This includes our commitment to build and expand highways 417 and 401 East. But at a time when it's never been more important to deliver infrastructure for our growing province, we need to do everything possible to deliver on our commitment to build Ontario. We're attracting new jobs and billions of dollars in new investments in every region of our province. We're welcoming hundreds of thousands of newcomers to Ontario every single year. Not too sure if you always quote these numbers. Stats Canada came out, 445,000 people landed in Ontario last year alone, and they're calling it home. And that's the reason we need to continue building more homes, and we need to get it done. But we can't build if we don't have the workers. That's why our government is investing over $1.5 billion in our skilled trade strategy, working hand in hand with our labor unions and business to train the skilled workforce our growing economy needs, whether it's upskilling workers, training new ones, or getting skilled immigrants into the province. We're leaving no stone unturned. It's all hands on deck, and so today, as part of our Skills Development Fund, we're pleased to announce that we're investing $2.7 million to support an innovative project that will help 65 electrical workers upgrade their skills to meet the demand for qualified electricians in Ontario. This project, led by KE Electrical, will provide participants with the training they need to progress from laborers to apprentices, apprentices to journeymen, and journeymen to foremen. The program will help electrical workers earn more take-home pay for themselves and their families while tackling the critical shortage of skilled trades workers the province faces. It will help create a bigger pipeline of talent so together we can build the homes and the infrastructure the Ottawa region needs to reach its full potential. Friends, as we continue to navigate global uncertainty, our government is hard at work, building an economy that can weather any storm, any economy that never loses sight of what's most important, helping people succeed, helping workers succeed. That starts with creating the economic conditions that attract investments in growth and good jobs. We have the right plan to build Ontario collectively, all of us. We're making electricity more affordable. We're keeping taxes and fees low. We're cutting red tape. We're investing in transit, roads, and highways to keep people and goods moving. And we're training the skilled workforce to build the infrastructure our growing province needs. Thank you all for joining us today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
Okay, we'll now take questions. Just a reminder, it's one question, one follow-up. Hi, Premier.
Hi.
Laura Stone, Globe and Mail.
How did you make it all the way up to
I
Ottawa?
know. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
I'm from here. I'm visiting my parents.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Tell them I say hi.
I will.
I'll come over for lunch one day.
Sure.
Or dinner.
Can babysit. So you're in Ottawa, so naturally I have to ask you about Toronto.
Sure.
The mayoral race is next Monday, and
Yeah.
polls are showing that Olivia Chow is set to win that race. You've previously warned against electing a lefty mayor. You've said it's going to be
Yep.
a disaster.
Yes.
She's come out strong against your Ontario Place plan, and she has another availability at the site in Ontario Place today. Are you going to be able to work with her if she wins? And are we in for years of gridlock and stalling and between the province and the city?
No, I'll work with anyone. We go through the democratic process. She gets elected, I'll work with her. And we'll sit down and come up with common ground. It's no different than, let's say, Andrea Horvath. I think she works so well with the province, Stephen Del Duca. I don't care about political stripes. I want to do what's best for the people. And hopefully the mayor will do what's best for the people, not raise taxes and attract businesses. That's what I'm concerned about, keeping taxes low, creating jobs, and attracting more businesses. And I'm confident if that happens. But in saying that, I always say, my brother used to tell me, Rob, dogs are for polls, and the only poll that counts is on election day. So see what happens. I'll remember when Rob got elected 2 days before, the polls, I call them the fake polls, they come out, and they said, George Smitherman was going to win by 12 points. Well, there was a difference of 24 points because Rob kicked his butt by 12 points. So don't believe the polls, folks. Get out there. Whoever you vote for, go out and vote. I encourage you to vote.
Thank you. And I think it's been noticed that there's a Mark Saunders sign on your lawn. Can you speak about why you're supporting him, and are you now going to endorse him, and do you wish you'd maybe talked more throughout the race about why you think he specifically is the right choice for Toronto?
Well, I've always said I'm staying out of the race, and I have the right, like anyone else, to put a sign on my lawn. I put Mark's sign on my lawn. I'm proud to have his sign on the lawn. But again, I tell everyone I'll be voting for Mark, but vote whoever you want to vote for. That's your choice. That's not up to me or anyone else to tell you who to vote for. That's just my opinion. He'd be the best mayor.
Hi, Colton Pearl, CTV Ottawa. Today, your government is starting their appeal of Bill 124. We've seen yesterday the CMAJ said our ERs are in crisis across the province. Here in the Ottawa region, there are ER doctors calling for the removal of the health minister for the lack of progress that have been made. We know that nursing unions say by removing Bill 124, which was deemed unconstitutional, it would improve the situation in our hospitals. Why is your government, in spite of all of these calls from medical experts and professionals, choosing to continue their appeal?
Well, I can't make a comment since it's in front of the courts, but what I will comment about what they were mentioning. This government has put more money into healthcare than any government ever in the history of this province. There's 3,100 additional beds since we've taken office, additional 3,000 beds. There's 50 projects totaling $50 billion that no other government's ever done. So 50 projects around the province. You're either getting a new hospital or you're getting an expansion on hospital. And as for the nurses, we set a record in bringing on new nurses, over 12,000 last year. That's from the College of Nurses that gave us that report. We have over 30,000 nurses in the hopper to join the front lines. I think the world of the nurses, and we're giving them everything we have, not mentioning the 8,000 doctors that have come on board, not to mention the new medical school that we're putting in place in Brampton. And I could go on for the next half an hour of everything that we've done for health. Again, there's no government in the history of Ontario, I'll go by the numbers, that has put more into healthcare than we have.
Despite that, though, the crisis remains, and according to health experts, the decision your government is making is actively worsening the problem. So you may not be able to speak about what is happening directly inside the courts, but you can speak to the reason that your government is choosing to do something they say will actively make it worse.
Well,
why are you appealing Bill 124?
Let's be fair here. You're talking on behalf of the union. The union's always going to speak that way. I just rattled off half a dozen things that we're improving healthcare. We're making sure that we have community healthcare clinics, surgical clinics all around Ontario. That's what we're doing. We're alleviating the burden off the backs of the hospitals. Isn't it amazing how the OMA and Ontario Medical Association is saying that was the right decision? The Ontario Hospital Association, all the CEOs of hospitals, saying that's the right decision. When I talk to numerous orthopedic surgeons, they're saying that's the right decision. So we're investing into healthcare to a tune of $81 billion. We're going to continue to invest in healthcare.
Bonjour, Premier. Frédéric
Bonjour.
with Radio-Canada. I want to hear you on paramedics. I don't know if Mr. Sutcliffe was having this discussion with you earlier today. There's a need for more paramedics in Ottawa. They are losing 500 hours every day waiting in hospitals, for transfer of patients. Hospitals are having a hard time. Paramedics are also having a hard time, and they want the province to invest in hiring new paramedics. So, anything to say about that? How can your government help the situation?
Well, first of all, the mayor's been a great partner. He called me right away, and we had a discussion, put him in touch with the team. So Ottawa recently received a top-up in funding of $2.6 million through the dedicated offload nurses program, which was expanded beyond nurses last year to allow for more paramedics, physician assistants, and respiratory therapists to assist with the patient offload. Our understanding is that $800,000 was not used. That's fine, they'll use it sometime, but it wasn't used. Ottawa also received $53 million for their land ambulance service grant. And we'll match anything the city puts in, and that goes for every single city. We'll go for 50-50 on anything moving forward, but they did get an increase, a top-up of $2.6 million. There's still $800,000 there. I can pass it over to the mayor, and he can make a comment if he likes.
Yeah, and just to be clear, so there's two areas. Est-ce que vous voulez que je réponde en français?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Alors, il y a deux enjeux. Premièrement, il y a les paramédicaux que nous devrons embaucher pour parce que la population d'Ottawa grandit. Et pour ces paramédicaux, nous sommes prêts à partager les coûts avec le gouvernement provincial, 50%, 50%. Mais il y a le problème continue à les chambres d'urgence, à les hôpitaux. Et pour ça, je pense que c'est un enjeu provincial. Alors, ce n'est pas la responsabilité de la ville de payer pour améliorer la situation. Alors, nous sommes en train d'avoir des conversations très collaboratives avec la ministre de Santé. Et ces conversations avancent et j'espère qu'ils seront productifs. Et j'espère qu'il y aura une solution dans les jours suivants. Sure. So there's two issues. We need to hire more paramedics for growth because the population of Ottawa is growing, and we're prepared to do that. And we actually passed a motion recently to do that, and we'll split the cost of those 50-50 with the province, as we always do. The other issue is the offload issue in the hospitals, and from our perspective, that's the fact that it's taking so long to offload patients in hospitals is an issue of the healthcare system, not an issue of the paramedic service. So we're asking for help from the provincial government, and we've been having very collaborative and cooperative conversations with the Minister of Health, Sylvia Jones, and with the Premier. And so I'm hopeful that we'll find some solutions going forward. There's a number of different ways to approach this issue. It doesn't necessarily have to be hiring paramedics. There might be another way. So we're happy with the progress that we're making in these conversations, and we hope that there'll be a solution at some point in the future.
Back to you, Mr. Premier.
Yes.
I want to hear you on housing because Mr. Sutcliffe said last week that he wants to end homelessness in Ottawa. You introduced a bill to, help building homes faster.
Yes.
But it is putting a bit more of a burden on cities. So how are you going to help cities to fill that gap?
Well, did you just say it puts a burden on cities?
Yeah.
It would help cities if we build more homes and get more rentals. We set a record all the way back to 1987 for more purpose-built rentals and also housing starts. We need to continue building homes. The 445,000 people that land here, they need a place to live. We have to have attainable and affordable homes, and it's very simple, folks. Everyone understands supply and demand. There's a larger demand than there is a supply, so we have to get moving. We have to cut through the red tape. We have to get the permits out a lot quicker than what we're getting right now. I'm not talking Ottawa, I'm talking in general across the province, and we need to start building. That's as simple as that. We have a growing, thriving population, and we're so fortunate. Everyone knows someone around the world. Talk to your friends, your relatives around the world. Because of the great people here, we have a phenomenal place to call home in Ontario and start a business and get a job and raise a family. We're so blessed here, and we really are, and it all has to do with the great people. But when they come, we need to build homes for them.
Hello, with the Community Voice newspaper here in the riding. Minister Steve Clark intervened with Club Link when their plan to develop Glen Abbey was before the Ontario Land Tribunal, right about the same point Kanata Lakes Golf Course stands today. Last time I asked you about Kanata Lakes, you said it's before the courts and you can't interfere. Your government intervened in Oakville. Can you explain the difference between the two cases?
Well, that's something that I'll follow up with Minister Clark. I'm not 1,000% familiar with it. I understand there's a situation happening there, but I'll follow up, and if I'd be able to get your number after, I'll give you the direct answer on that.
Okay.
Thank you for that anyways.
On school transportation, we're seeing information coming from the local school transportation authority that they're seeing a 9% cut to funding. Why is that good for students?
Well, again, that usually goes through the school boards, and we're investing into education. And education, we're increasing it over $2 billion. As we see the students, population isn't growing with the students; it's relatively the same. We're pouring money into education. It gets transferred over to the boards. The boards make the decisions. I don't direct the school boards. Some days I wish I did, but I don't. And we're always going to make that a priority to make sure kids get to school via bus or other methods of transportation.
Hello, Premier. Giacomo Panico with CBC in Ottawa. Just to follow up here on Bill 124, if you do lose this appeal, if your government loses, will you take it to the Supreme Court of Canada?
Well, let's just see what happens. I don't want to comment since it's in front of the courts. But our whole goal with Bill 124, I have to make sure that we respect the taxpayers, but also make sure that the frontline workers are treated fairly and come up with common ground. So we always look forward to working with our unions, no matter public or private sector unions, and come up with a fair deal for the public sector. But again, making sure we always respect the taxpayers' money. And that's what we're going to do. So let's see what the courts say, and then I'm sure I'll have comments after the decision's made.
I wonder if you could elaborate on that point about respecting taxpayers. So my colleague asked a couple of times why your government is appealing, and we heard reasons from your side of how you've improved healthcare in this province. But why exactly? What do you tell Ontarians about why you're taking this to an appeal?
Well, again, Bill 124 eventually lapsed, right? So we're going to sit down again with the unions. We're going to get a fair deal for the frontline workers, but always respecting the taxpayers, making sure that we're prudent fiscal managers of the taxpayers' money. Keep in mind, every non-public servant, gets paid by everyone in this room that's working at, the electrical company, looking at people out there in factories. They're paying for public service and public servants. They're paying my salary. So I have to be respectful and make sure that I always be a prudent fiscal manager of the taxpayers' money. The problem starts, and hopefully this never happens here, it won't under my watch, when more people are taking out of the system than putting into the system. And we're always going to make sure that we have great jobs, that we can pay for hiring great teachers, hiring great nurses and doctors, making sure people have the services that they expect and need to run a beautiful city like Ottawa or Toronto or any other region of this province. And again, there's 650,000 more people working today, paying up the Queen's Park coffers in the private sector than there was 5 years ago. So I just believe in putting more money into people's pockets and businesses until they can reinvest it, and people can go out and buy a home or do something they might otherwise not be able to do.
Okay, this will be the last question.
Zainab, City News. My question is about ER closures. So what is the government doing about the ER closures in smaller communities in Eastern Ontario?
Okay, well, we know that's a staffing issue. We're going to be there to support all the hospitals across Ontario. But who makes those decisions? I think there's a misnomer out there. It's the hospitals that make the decisions. The regional health care is making those decisions. The board of directors on the hospitals are making those decisions. We're always going to be there to fund the system, always. But I can't direct the CEOs of the hospitals. They get their funding and they do what they need to do to run the hospital in the most efficient way possible. But thank you for that question. I appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Take care.
All right. Education is an ultimate thing, and the more we can get our society supporting education and skills, the better our society is, and supporting them in getting them into getting these people into a stream where not only do they find a good job, but maybe they can build a good business. And we all have all these businesses supporting our community and making and building a better place for all of us to live. All right, thank you for listening today, and please do find that subscribe button wherever it may be, whether you're listening to Spotify, Google Play, Spreaker, or Apple Podcasts. Find and click that subscribe button so you can get continued updates from us here at Depictions Media Radio. This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.